Okay, here we go. Let me just quickly check if everything is right. My other screen is, well, functional for the most time. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our, what is this, like the 5th stream? Yeah, well, last week we had no luck with the stream, actually with today's stream. It was supposed to be on Thursday. My other monitor decided to, well, die out, and I'm still with it. It's kind of flickering for now, but hopefully it's gonna hold out until we can manage today's stream. So today we are simply going to continue where we stopped the previous time, where we were basically prototyping how our scene was gonna look like. So this is what we have so far, and this is, like I said, not the final design by a long shot. But instead I want to make sure that this thing is going to be more or less the skeleton for our house, or how we are going to construct our house. Now the thing here is that I want to model things that will be reused all around. Oh, give me a sec. You gotta really learn to turn off my phone. There we go. All right, and I want to create things that are going to be modular, which means that we can reuse them all around our scene. So in this case, that would mean create something like, let's say, some support beams for the structure, create some rails for either for the outside, like a fence, or something like fence for our balcony over here. We are going to also create, well, at least try to create the skeleton for the roof, as well as create some solar panel that we can later on just slap them around. So today what I had in mind generally was to start working on the interior, but since I had the screw up with the monitor and I haven't been home for the most of the time. Oh yeah, hey man, I'm on design. How are you doing? And also we can create some windows. We can create some doors, something similar like that. Also, if you have some sort of a window or door design that you would like, you like to see me create, send in a link, send in any sort of a image or whatever. Just paste it here, and I will check it out. And well, like I said, today I want to make it so I actually have something to model instead of going over on Google and try to find things. I just want to go ahead and model some stuff. I checked out some of the things that I found interesting here. Is basically, if you take a look at this image here, even though it's very, very simple, what this actually gave me as an idea is to have a declining roof. And this would mean that I get to have one more room at the top here. And the interesting thing is that with a design like this, you can have an opening over here for a window that's going to protrude outside. So this can actually work well on this design, because I can have the roof coming over on this side. And the reason for it like sloping on this side opposed to this side is that when you have actually rain, you don't want the rain to like drip over on your balcony here. Or if we want to have like the slope going this way, we're gonna have to put in some gutters, and they're gonna go across here and here, gather up all the water and just like dump it over here. So that actually might be a good idea, because you can see me how I'm modeling the gutters for or the rain. I think they're called gutters. I might be wrong though. How we can create those, or we can just make it so it kind of slopes over on this side, and the water has like a free fall on piece of, like, I don't know, whatever. Hey man, what's up? My monitor is kind of working, like it's flickering. It turned on, which is a good thing. I ordered a new one, but it's gonna take them Wednesday or Thursday until it's here. So hopefully that thing is gonna work. And I went ahead and I actually ordered with my monitor. I ordered a webcam. So next time I might even have a video of me in the bottom corner here, and I'm gonna see if I look hideous. I will not be using it for the streams. If not, you're gonna actually get the idea or get the chance to see me as well. Anyways, back to doing this idea thing. Like I said, when I saw this was actually an interesting addition because it gives me some things that I can add in. Another thing that I saw for the interior, at least for the things that are going to be reused, is that a lot of these interior houses have some steel support beams. Yeah, man, I will try to be awesome, but we'll see. I actually went ahead and bought a good quality webcam because I had one previously, but it was a bit shit. So it was a grainy look and it really did not make it interesting for me. So I actually went ahead, ordered a really good quality one, and we'll see what happens. And the last thing that I want to create today, or not the last, but hell, one of the things that I want to create is I want to create also some of these solar panels that we can use on our house. And since we do have a bit of a flat space like on top of here, what I can do is for this I can go in and create something like this thing that I just saw. It's basically a pole, and to it you have this this solar panel attached, which can rotate depending on where the sun is. So that's an interesting concept. You can even have something like this. So we're gonna have to choose one of these panels or where we want to use them. These though, I think they're from a game, so not really what we are going for. We're trying to go with something that's gonna be more or less realistic. And also we can, if I'm gonna go with the sloped roof, I can use the roof as a base for like the panels themselves as well. So we don't have to have just a roof. We can have a solar panel roof, which is going to be interesting. But we'll see. And lo and behold, we have a lot of new ways that Google decides to like give us whatever. Anyways, back to the modeling part. So first of all, I want to start off with, let's start with the railing for the let's just go over here and type in railing. Let's see what happens. Yeah, something like this is gonna work. Now let's check it out and see. All right, for the exterior though, I actually do like if I put a Tesla car in the garage, I'm gonna get the idea to start modeling a Tesla car, and then I'm gonna hate myself because that's gonna take way too long. But yeah, I can put a Tesla car in the garage. I think I even have a model of a Tesla car. I've modeled once, one, I think it was either a S or an X. I think it was the X though. The one that has the the hell. I think it was the one that had the doors open up like wings. Alright. We'll see what happens. Crap. Alright, give me a second. I'll be right back. Somebody's honking their horn outside. I just have to close the window. I'll be right back. Alright, sorry about that. There we go now. Windows are closed, everything's closed. As I was saying, railing. Well, we can have a couple of different rails for scene, depending on either we want them for the interior or the exterior. Now for the interior though, this is an interesting thing because it leaves the concept of having the ability to stack multiple of these boxes and have one of them without the floor, which is going to give us more space for the upper part, which is going to give us even a more complicated design, which in turn is going to be, well, interesting. Well, what I can do here though is just make one more like this. And no, not gonna do that. All right, so first rail type that I'm gonna take is gonna be this one, because, well, I would like to have something similar to this to put over here, like around the walkway. And then we can choose another one, something similar to either like this, or kind of depending on what type of design we go for the exterior, we can maybe even go for something like all of these aluminum rails. I know for a fact that we're gonna have a staircase in one. Actually, in our interior, it's going to be inside these two boxes, so it's going to have one railway going up, so it's going to be either like one of those. Let's just quickly add in one of the extended one. I know there's there's stairs. There we go, straight stair, U-type stair. So it's going to be this way, this way, this way. So at least I have something to start off from. There we go. I get a rough idea of where my steps are going to be. Let me just make this the length. That's fine. Razors. Where the hell is the height? No. No, it's supposed to be on the left. Oh, this is the length. On the first one. Width is fine. What the hell? Where is the... No, it's not the offset. Height. Is there height? Yeah, this is the height. Okay. Now we can put this thing over here. Overall. No. Well, it's okay. I can actually leave this thing in here just as a placeholder, so I know that I'm gonna have some sort of a stairway there. That is okay. Anyways, you guys said something about wanting to see some windows. Leave your ideas in the comment. I will check them out in here, so maybe I can start modeling on some of those windows. Until then, I'm actually gonna try and find... Ooh! Oh, this is an interesting design. This is actually very easy to create as well. Alright, well, let's create multiple different versions of it then. So, save image. Let's save it up in our folder. And I'm going to call it images, railing 01. Alright, we have that railing 01 saved. This is an interesting railing system. kind of looks similar to one of the tutorials that I've previously made about wall designs. But nah, not gonna go. Yeah, this actually is a pretty good thing to have, especially if we're gonna be using some aluminium ones, because when you're creating stuff that's going to be modular, what you want to have is you want to have a straight piece and then you want to have a corner piece. This image here perfectly shows us how the corner is supposed to look over here. So I'm actually going to save this, go JPEG, fine. So railing 02 and better. Okay, this is a interesting rail, but now I want to get this one. So save image, railing 03. Oh, here's another. These are more or less ornamentals, as well as like. So we have just these going around, then you have the flowery ornamental ones. This shouldn't be hard to create. Let's go ahead and just save this thing as well. Railing 4. Let's go down. Now, these are actually interesting because mainly I've actually created rails like these in the past. What happens here is you get a twisted metal, so it has 2 or 3 of these swiveled. You know what? I'm gonna save this, and later on I'm gonna show you how to create something like this. Railing 05. This is going to be interesting to show it off. Yeah, see, this is also an interesting design for our exterior, for our balcony over here. We can have something like a sloped here, like a, well, instead of having this sort of a wall, what I can have is a bit of a wall here, but filled up with soil, so we can have some plants in it, or something like that, similar to something like that, which might be interesting or might be a shit idea. I have no idea. We'll see. One of the great things when you're creating stuff that you're not following any particular plan is you're either going to make something very beautiful and something very awesome, or you're going to get stuck and then you're going to hate yourself. Hopefully it's going to be the first one. So let's see. What else can we create? Rails. Well, I'm kind of actually really angling for something like this. So, alright, first of all, this is going to be very easy and simple to create. So, let's start off with something like this. Railing 06. Right. Oh, for the interior, something like this could work as well. This again, very, very easy, simple elements. So let's just save image. Railing 07. All right. Since we have that, what I'm going to do, everything that I have so far in layers has been put into this prototype layers. So what I'm going to do is Well, if you want to have glass for the exterior, man, if you think it's nice, just find some reference images and post them in the comment section. I will check them out as soon as you post them. Maybe it's going to give us some ideas. We'll see. So let's go and create a new layer and call this reusables, or yeah, reusables. Yeah, I know. It kind of depends on the style of the house, but still, the more ideas you guys shell out, that might change the design for the house. So depending on what we end up doing is seriously going to be impacted by how we create the elements for it. The more elements that we have to model, the more work is going to be involved into it, and actually that's why I like it, because I'm going to know what to model. Just like right now, I want to start off with creating some of the things that we just created from the reference images that we gathered. So I want to start off with something for the exterior, at least for the thing that I know that I like. For this part here, it was this exterior railing. Now, from what I can see in here, this is going to be a pretty straightforward model, because when you get over to trying to make this thing repeatable, or make it so it's like a kit, all you got to do is create one that's going to be in the middle, and one that's going to have this T split over here. So since these are actually just normal cylinders, this is going to be pretty easy. But also another thing that's kind of good to notice is, if you zoom in here, you're going to see that these things are actually attached to the concrete below, so they should be going a bit lower. Hey, FreeW67, man. It's been like what, a week since we saw you last time. Good to have you back, man. Just in case you just logged in and haven't said anything up until now, we are playing around and getting ready to start modeling some of the rails for our house, and this is what we are starting with. If you have any ideas, feel free, shell them out here. We'll see what happens. Anyways, let's start with something like this then. Since I don't know how big these things are supposed to be, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and visually just create a simple cylinder in here and give it some height. Now I know that this is the height of a person, so we want to have this thing up till around its waist. So something like this would be okay, I guess. So that's 120. You know what? Let's just ask Google. Rail heights. Top of this rail, so the height of the top edge is 94 centimeters. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Google. So with 94, I'll just put this thing over to the side. Well, you know what? Actually, if it's 90 from floor to here, and I know that I'm gonna have to have another like 20 centimeters or so down, just so it can be well, it can be attached to the floor. 110 centimeters actually does sound right. So let's go ahead and go at 110. Let's give it like 5 centimeters. So let me just do it like this. Yeah, I think 110 is more or less where we should be. this. All right, if it's gonna be 110, then we can start slowly creating the rest of this thing. Now, I'm gonna hide you, Mr. Prototype. And let's start off with creating this thing. So this thing has a radius of 5 centimeters. That means diameter of 10, which is too much. So let's try 2.5. Yeah, 2.5 looks better. Yeah, no worry, man. If your Wi-Fi disconnected, it happens. So to about there. Okay, now it means that if I'm gonna have this thing as 110, I'm gonna need one that's gonna go across, so at 90 degrees, like over here. No, over here, 90. All right. So before I actually go that way, what I can do is hit edit poly. Pull this thing outwards like so. Now go with the slice plane. Rotate it around for 45 and slice. Turn off all the things that we don't have, we don't need. So just delete this thing. Now rotate this 90 degrees like so, 180 degrees this way, and we just got our G turned perfectly. So attach both of these together, weld, make sure it's a very small amount like so. Okay. Hey man, what's up? How do you pronounce Ashan Farouk? 89. All right. So that's fine. I don't need this thing. I don't need this thing. Oh, no, not that way. All right, so when you're deleting stuff like this, make sure you just gonna get to the edge. Control and backspace removes all the edges with the vertices to them. But if you delete the vertices, everything goes to shit. So we don't do that. All right, we have that open. Well, welcome to the live streams then. So what I want to do is make sure that this thing does not protrude all that much. So put it over here. Now let's see, how do we get this thing to go down in here, which is fine. Plus, if this is the first time you're watching me go live, there is a pretty good chance you're gonna see me screw up somewhere. So yeah. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is get on the cylinder, put an edit poly on top of it, delete this thing, get the border, create a shape out of it, make it a linear one, select the shape and this thing, and now all right, this can work. Let's start cutting like this and see if this thing is going to cut on the bottom or if it's gonna cut on the goddamn base. This is gonna be fuck. All right, screw it. It's out a bit, but we'll get around that one. No worries. Just want to see how this thing is gonna look like. Shit. All right. Okay. At least it made the hole where it's supposed to be at. So let's put it here. All right. So delete. Now let's see all the places that have been put in there. So let's try vertex cleanup. For sake. Editable poly. Were you watching me on your mobile then? Clean it, alright. Just this. Alright, regularize this thing. And it's, of course, it's gonna look like shit. Alright, not gonna do it that way then. Remove all of that shit that we just added in. Delete this thing. And now just position this thing a bit better so it's in the center. And just so you make it easier for me, I'm gonna push this thing inside like so. And if I'm gonna be so anally inclined to get the thing to render at this angle for whatever reason, what I can do is put some welding around it, so it's gonna cover up. Oh, that's actually giving me a nice idea. I can show you how you can create welding for stuff like this, so you can hide intersecting geometry, so you don't actually have to go ahead and actually connect this thing in a G way. So let's move this thing downwards a bit, like so, and move it to about there. Or I'm making this complicated, just leave it like this. Let's not overcomplicate stuff that's not supposed to be complicated. I can show you the welding trick on something else, but not for this, because it's really not going to be seen here. Actually, that's actually a really good idea for a tutorial on how to make welding. But really quickly, for example, if you want to put some welding on pretty much anything that you're creating, here is a quick way of doing it. At least if you need it to be as geometry for whatever reason. You just create a cylinder. And this is the sort of welding that I'm talking about. Let me show you some welding. Something like this. You see how when the metal is melted, it kind of makes this this shape around edges, which are supposed to like connect two or multiple metals which are not connected. You get this sort of a look. Now, if you're going after this sort of a look for whatever reason, like, and you don't want to use it as a normal map from maybe Substance Painter or Substance Designer, the way to do it, or the easiest way to do it, is you create just one cylinder, edit poly, remove the bottom, And make sure you have an inset. Whoa, 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 whoa. Not that much. One inset, collapse, and just so we make it a bit more geometrically pleasant to watch. Oh, oh, hello. Okay. Something like this. Ah, man. These are very, very small things. Anyways, now squish it down like so. And what we want to do is I'm going to create just a one copy to about here. And make sure it's an instance. And let's say you have 10 instances of this thing. Create it like that. You select the first one. You go over in the vertex selection, select all the vertices, and just put it like that until they're overlapping to about more or less this size, and you get this sort of a look. If you put a turbo smooth on it, you get this thing. And now if you make this thing follow a line, for example, if I put a select everything, make them unique. Yes, make everything unique. Make sure you save whenever you're doing stuff like this, because Max loves to crash on stuff like this. You select this thing with an edit poly, attach, make sure they're all one continuous thing. And now if we have, like, I don't know, let's try it with an arc. Something like this. You go path deform, world space modifier, pick the path, put it here, move the path on the different axes. Now let's try and get the goddamn axes to work. Really? If that thing does not work this way, just Control Z. What you're gonna do before you do anything else is you go over here, reset the X form. Now collapse this thing down. Now with the path deform, hopefully this thing is gonna work. So go X, move the path, no, Y. Yeah, more or less, just gonna have to, like, so it's the Y, but the normal for our line is different. So if this thing was made to go this way, this would have followed it that way. Anyways, since it's made to follow it this way, with the path deform, if you stretch this thing, it's gonna make it so it's following that line perfectly. And when you take a look at this thing, let's say you put it with something like a gray color or whatever material you want to use, especially if you have the first one UVW unwrapped and you put a metallic material on it, you really end up with a look that's pretty similar. Holy crap, this is small. It's very, very similar to what we have on something like this thing here. And it kind of all depends on how many of these welding pieces you want. So that's one way of creating welding like this. But for now, I'm just gonna delete all of this because I really do not need that thing. I don't hate myself enough to start adding in small details like that on the railings, knowing that I have a whole goddamn house to model. Well, now you know how to make them look that way if you need them for some undefined reason, for whatever. You know how to make welds like that as well. Okay, now what I need to do here is not to go off topic too much. So back to getting this thing. So I have this going in here, that's fine. So I have that thing that in there. I need one more. Oh, you're talking about in real life. I've tried welding once. I almost burned down a barn, so that is not going to be something that I'm really proud of. So I'm not going to try to do that again. And you working on a race team, holy shit, that sounds amazing. All right, let's move this thing down to about so. Yeah. I'm gonna have to find something to put on top of this here, because I really don't like it this way. It looks so primitive. Whatever. You got to 3D modeling through sim racing. Holy shit. All right. That's an interesting entry point to have at 3D. But anyways, let's just, well, actually, let me just hide the entire prototype so I can just focus on this thing. No point in watching the whole thing. Now, what I want to do here is create one of those planes that is going to be, let's try it, 150, but how much is this? So 90 centimeters by 150 centimeters. I'll make it 4 by 4 now, but 1 by 1. This is what I'm going for. All right, so let's edit poly. First of all, I want to create this thing to about 3 centimeters. This is going to be fine. Now detach the interior. Make sure it's not a clone, but actually detached. And we have just this plane. Oh, no. So I want this thing to be front. Some perspective in here. I wanna have this thing have some depth with the shell. So give it some shell, and I do want it to have this sort of roundness to it, like here, that I see here, which means the easiest way to do that is on top of the shell, just go in here, put into connects. There we go. So 2 connects, and ever so slightly just move them on the y-axis like that. Now I do want to have this thing turbo smooth, so I'm gonna want to have some sharpness to the corners. So select all the corners. Oh yeah, and I do read the comment. I'm just trying to focus on this thing. So do feel free and continue sharing your past adventures with the racing team. And don't mind me not answering right away. Just trying to do 2 things at the same time and try to not royally fuck up on this thing. So select both of these. Chamfer this with a very, very small amount, like 0.1 here. And now, when we put on the turbo smooth, let's see how this thing is going to hold up. Yep, we get the corners to hold up tight. We get that roundness on the front, and we have that flat on the back. If we go in even higher in iterations, we really get that look for that. Anti-isolate. Now for the interior one, all I can see is that we have this pattern, weaving pattern, and it's something like a wall pattern. We could, and I do mean we could make this thing with opacity map, but since we are doing this thing with geometry, let's go ahead and play around with the actual geometry. So where was it? Generate topology, brick. But before I actually go ahead and do the brick thing, I'm gonna need some geometry to do the bricking. So connect. Let's try 50. Go connect. 50. Now let's try and hit brick. Before we hit the brick, hit everything. And now brick. What the hell? No. Seriously? Why is it gonna give me everything except the brick? Ah, shit. Alright, requires one of these to be selected. I go something like this, but instead of selecting that one, just select one. Brick. Boom. My man. Dude, it's the idea for the detail. Don't worry about the memory and the CPU, because later on I can take all of this geometry here and just bake it onto as a texture, or bake it out as a map. And there we go. We got this thing to more or less what we see here. And now, because we do want to have actual geometry for this, like I said, this is an overkill. This is an actual overkill for it, and I would not be using this for something like if this thing was going inside Unreal. Because, well, if somebody made this thing to go inside Unreal and then somebody else asked him to unwrap this thing, and all he did was just throw in a planar map and said it's done, and then the other guy said, well, let's go ahead and properly unwrap this, and then you get the urge to want to kill yourself. Now I'm saying this like somebody who has done this, so let's not do that again. And I just put a small shell on it, like a very, very small shell, not 1 centimeter, but 0.1 centimeter, like that. Oh, no, no, don't do that. Nope, nope. Don't be an asshole. Just thank you for the thing. All right, so now we have this thing as a geometry, which is nice. This geometry is gonna have, let's say, how much total plus selection. You see, this thing alone is 47,000 polygons. So again, not a very, very great way of doing things, but if you just want to create a texture out of this, well then, it's gonna be great. Now let's just see if I can put a turbo smooth on it. Turbo smoothing groups now. With turbo smooth, we actually get more of that look that we're going here. Because if I take a look at here, you notice that they're not actually squares. They're more like something like this, like holes. Especially you can see it on this side. It's more rounded holes. And more or less what we have in here, like so. So that plus this thing. All right. And holy shit, this is way off. All right, let's move this thing to the front. Move it to there. There we go. And now the only thing that I'm kind of missing is these connectors that are going from in here to in here, and I can see some goddamn welding, but screw that thing. I'm not going to be doing that thing that I showed you with the welding. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cheat. And the way I'm going to cheat in here is, first let me just turn on the prototype again, like so. The way that I'm going to cheat is I'm going to create one plane, which is going to be the connector. It's going to be going from here to here. Is it? It's going in here. Move it to the back. All right. Now, for here, I want to extract a holder for this thing, so it's going to be about here, and that holder is going to be 1, 2, 3. All right, let's try 4 of these. So detach. Detach is a clone. Really doesn't matter because now we can just delete our edit poly. Let's hide this thing. Fuck off. There we go. And put a shell on top of this here. Dude, I'm using the hell is this mouse? I have no idea what brand it is. I think it costs about I might be wrong, but I think it costs about $5 or $10. It's the best goddamn mouse I've ever had. I've had mouses in the past that were like in the price of $100. I hated the living shit out of those mouses because they were made for, I'm gonna put quotation marks in the air, like professional work. They were shit. They were shit. The only mouse that I actually liked was the Razer Naga, and mainly because it had a lot of buttons for macros, so you can actually link those to do specific actions in Macs. They were great also for gaming because I used to play a lot of World of Warcraft, and that was amazing when it came down to like stuff like that. But other than that, I'm sticking with a very, very simple mouse. Just give it a bit of a thickness, 0.5. It's more like it. It's supposed to have some strength to it to hold out that fence. Okay. Edit poly. Put it in here. Delete what's in the back. I can tell you one thing about using different accessories. Just use what works for you. Don't worry about the brand. Like the brand doesn't make you you. The brand can help you or like get some good results, but when it comes down to a mouse, all you wanted to do is not skip around, and you can have a good grip on it. Other than that, it doesn't really matter. It's a mouse. There we go. So we can have this thing in there. Okay. Edit poly. Put some edges in there. Turbo smooth this thing. That's fine. Oh, I think nope. Everything's fine there as well. So all we'll need is, yeah, actually I'm gonna leave it just like that. And later on, if I decided I need some more details onto it, I want to make this copy. What I can do is, if I get this thing ready for Unreal, or pretty much any game engine, you can even be using Unity. When I bake this down to a lower poly model, I can go in and inside Substance Painter, add in the screws as normal maps. Or if I want to have this thing to be actual geometry, I can create some screws for the geometry, which again is going to work just fine. But I don't think we're going to be going that deep into details, especially not for minor details like these. I might put in that much detail on the interior or the elements that we're going to be creating for the interior, but that's going to be later on. For now, I think this is more than enough, at least for this portion of the modeling. There we go. As I'm creating this, I'm actually understanding how much work this thing is going to require to do. So it's gonna be really interesting. Alright, so I'm gonna put it all on top of here and just attach. Oh, no, no, not you, not you. Create, create. And it might be a good idea to actually create a second scene in which I'm going to create all of this stuff, because if I create everything in my main scene, the polygon number is going to explode really quickly. But for now it's going to be fine, I guess. So last thing I just need to add in here, put in one like here, select this thing, detach as a clone, that's fine. This thing, put a shell on it, edit poly, move it down, just put it like this. Okay, I don't need to have an interior one, so delete that thing, because actually I'm going to collapse this, because you might actually see the bottom sometimes. Highly doubtful, but still the possibility is there. Move this thing in like that. Now select those edges, chamfer them a very small amount, like 0.05 with 2, and one more on the edge down at the bottom. There we go. Okay, let's try. Yep, we have that thing with the turbo smooth. Looks amazing. This thing, turbo smooth on it, looks amazing as well. I have to do something about this thing. It's bugging the hell out of me. Ah, screw it. Alright, we have the corner. I want to select this thing, move it over. Actually, you know what? I want to select this thing, make sure that I have the effect pivot only, and align it to here. So pivot to pivot, it's fine. The reason for doing this is that I want to have these on this side as well. So now when I go ahead and mirror them on this side, I can put them as a copy. And in turn, this is going to show me exactly at what distance should my second beam be. So I can just go in here and visually just put it to about there. And there we go. I got that thing happening. Now what I can do is click here, extend this thing to about there. And I have corner 1. All right, so with this corner piece created over here, from it, what I can do is, first of all, I'm gonna save. And I'm gonna save another iteration, because if something gets screwed up and my save file gets corrupted, all I have is the autosave backup, and that is not highly reliable nowadays. So what I want to do here is select this thing, actually select everything, like that. One more. Oh, hold on. This thing as well. Click and move to the back. And now affect the pivot only. Put it there. A copy. And now the reason why I made this thing as a copy on here is just so I know where this thing is gonna end up connecting. So what I want to do before I do that is take the original one, make it a unique one, and just snap it to where this thing ends. Right there. Okay, so again, just make sure it snaps over here. What this means is that when I want to have this thing continue and actually snap to the edge one, as I want to select, I'll actually put one in here, make it planar on the Y, like so. Select these, and now snap it to about, whoa, there. All right, I think it's gonna be fine. And since the other one was an instance of our original, it's gonna work just fine. So delete this thing, we no longer need it. All right, now let's quickly check this thing out. So on the Y, so just group everything up. Alright, so it's going to continue just like that. Oh, see, there we go. Another small issue. Select all of these guys and put it there. So now if I go ahead and alright, so I just need to fix this one. Damn it. Fine. Need to fix these corners as well. So open up. There we go, there. Close the group. All right, now this can work. We have a nice continuous fence, and if I open up my prototype, I can see that this thing looks okay here, at least for the thing that we need it. So this can be our centerpiece, and this one over here can be our corner piece. And with that, we actually have this thing made. So I'm gonna put to the side. Actually, no, you know what? I'm gonna put it in line, so I don't have to always like snap this thing. Just move it up to here. Close the prototype. And actually, the only thing that I might want to check is, oh, this is ridiculous, but I just come to think of it. What I could have done is, for the corner, I could just make it so it kind of ends about here. It doesn't have to have this piece, because this one is actually this piece plus this piece. So what I can do is Yeah, see, this is a corner I can do as well. And I actually might do this thing on the other one. And it shouldn't be that hard as well, because basically what that thing is, it's just a corner of a box. So you just take this thing, and this thing. You create a shape out of it. You'll make it linear or smooth or whatever. Just make it linear. Give it a rendering, enabling viewport and renderer. And it does this shit again. God damn it. Throwback. I should have done that over here at the start, but whatever. Okay, so for this, it's going to be a different approach. It's going to take a bit of like modeling time, but alright, whatever. I know I've actually, in one of the tutorials that I've already done, I think I have created something like this, but that doesn't matter. Doesn't matter now. Alright, man. Thanks for joining in right now, and I'll see you later. If we're still on, I guess we should be on. Yeah, I'm gonna try my best to be another hour or so. So attach both of these together. So let me just try and get this thing. Yep, that's gonna work. I'm gonna have to do some work around that thing, but whatever. I'm a fan of the music today. F8 and goddammit, unlock my shit. Really? Unlock. Okay. You have it that way. So now move it on the Y. Until what the hell is this shit? Ah, of course, this thing is now on the outside, which means it needs to be on the inside, so it needs to be flipped on the X. So mirror this thing on the X, no copy. And this thing is mirrored, means I have to move it. God damn it, again, one more time. F8, unlock this goddamn thing. There. Now lock the Y. Like so. Move this thing back. Move it there. I don't have that one though. Okay, I don't have that one. It's fine. Alright, so we have now this entire thing is gonna be one of the side ones. This is just a regular corner piece. For the corner piece, I'm gonna put an edit poly on top of this here. Attach everything together as a corner one. Make it different color. That one, that's fine. Alright, I'm actually happy with this thing, so save. And this is gonna be called, this is gonna go ahead and be placed in its own layer. So layer, and call this fence type 01. Now for the second type, let me just see. Which one were we looking for? Something like these glass ones are not bad. This can be used, these can be used for interior and exterior ones. They're very, very simple to create. Actually, we can just reuse what we have so far. So I can use the base here, we have the cylinder, we have the connectors. Just alright, let's just do this. It's gonna be like a really, really quick design. So just get in here, select this thing, make it a copy, and just make it type 2 fence type 02. Hide the first one. Now for this one though, we will not be needing these corners, because the corners on these are a bit different. So delete that. In here though, actually, you know what? Before I go that way, just turn on the turbo smooth. Damn it. If I go ahead and remove that edit poly, is going to screw up with my base. So before I screw up the base, I'm going to detach and now remove the edit poly. There we go. This is going to make sure I retain that geometry. Now remove the turbo smooth. Cap this thing. Like this. Just want to have this. And collapse. Go in there with a very, very, very small chamfer. 0.05. That one, 2. And now if we go ahead and put turbo smooth on it, we get that nice rounded corner that I can actually see here. Like it's getting that a bit of a glare, which is okay. So now for the holders in here, let me just unhide the fence type so I can see how big these panels are. These are the ones that we previously used. So I'm going to use the same thing. So plane, which is going to be 90 centimeters by 150. Okay. Hide this thing back. Ah, damn it. I hate when I'm working from the right. Whatever. There we go. So what happens here is that this thing is a actual glass. It has some thickness to it. Give it, I don't know, 1 centimeter thickness. This should be like a more dense or a thicker piece of glass. So yeah, just to make sure that it's in the middle. I'm actually going to put in here one connection, and that is going to allow me to take this whole thing, move it on the Y, and from this point just snap it here, and now I know for a fact that it's in the middle. Now create a box, and the reason why I'm creating a box is that when I take a look at these These are the actual holders for the glass, and they look like clamps. They might be two pieces of metal that are connected, but in here, when I take a look at them, it looks like they're clamps. They have clamped onto the glass and they're holding it in place. So the easiest way to create that would probably be just create one box that's going to go around the thing. So make it so it's that's right, 2 centimeters by 6 centimeters and 1.5. No, this is the height. The height, we're gonna see how big we're gonna need it once we put it here. The height should probably be like 20. No, wait, 20 is way too much. So 10 centimeters. Yeah, this looks more or less right. So now, let's take this thing, put it in. Yeah, see, like I said, clamps. This is an even easier one because these are squarish ones, so we can have those as a version as well. But the one that I have is one of those aluminium ones that I saw that were like the round one, so it's okay. The distance is more or less right, so I just need to make this thing a bit wider. .5. Just move it up a bit. Yeah, I think this is going to be fine. This is going to work just fine. Because now that I have this clamp, it's nothing too complicated, you know. Just some box modeling, so it kind of goes to about here. And what I want to do is get in here, put in two more. But before we do that, with the two, I just want to connect with one and make sure that on the Y, this thing is centered to here. There we go. Now it's in the center. I know that for a fact. So what I'm going to do is select this thing and chamfer it, which will split it in two. And that is going to define exactly where the clamp is going to... Whoa, 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 whoa. There we go. Something like this. Now, take this thing, move it up a bit, like so. And now, just select the things that are not needed, like these. Isolate this thing quickly, bridge together from here to here, go here to here, and here to here. There we go. So now we just want to add in the supporting edges for the turbo smooth. What the hell? Oh, seriously, somebody's gonna be drilling now? Alright, give me a second, gotta go see what the hell this thing is. Just like I said, they got 2 holes to drill, and I got 5 minutes of a break to take. So everybody enjoy the music. I can just like amp up the music a bit more. There we go. So freeware music for 5 minutes, and I'll be back. Cheers, everyone. Alright, we're back. Hey, we got a new guy. Thank you for telling me I'm amazing. Well, like I told everybody else, joined in the Discord channel. So there, you can catch me live anytime. Man, just check the damn streaming channel, streaming related. You just said hi to the hallway. On the left side. On the left side, when you go over to streaming related, in here, this is where you want to type stuff that's going to be, well, more or less about the stream. When you're in the hallway, you're basically just saying hello to everybody in here. So, jump in here in the streaming related. There you go, now you're typing. Haha! And disable this thing. I move this thing to the side. Howdy ho, howdy hey. Alright. Well, we like all the people. We like the professionals, we like the veterans, the noobs, we like everybody. Anyways, where were we? Alright, so we are making the cushy thing for, what the hell? We're making the clamp for this thing. We have the base now. I just need to add supporting edges. So isolate this thing. Well, actually, no, before we do that, I'm going to select everything, give it an auto smooth, and instead of going and manually adding in all the chamfers, I'm going to use in the modifier list, choose chamfer, a very small amount, like 0.1, and we get that same thing again. Hold on a second, I think the music might be a bit too low. There we go. Alright, so 0.5 on the tension, and we get more or less what we need in here, like that. And since we have an open edge here, it's not a big problem, but I really do not like having engons in an open thing because they can create some issues later on. So just select, click, connect, select, click, connect. Nice, so no more engons, everything is rounded up. If I turn on turbo smooth, you get a very sharp edge here. There we go, it's fine, that's on that side as well. Alright. Yeah man, you came to a really good place to learn, because it's all about learning. So let's remove this iteration because I don't need it now. And where the hell did I leave that image? There you go. From what I can see, there is some rivets holding this thing together. So 1, 2, 1, 2, it's fine. The riveting thing is easy because all we got to do is come in here, create a sphere. So let's try with 16 segments. It's fine. Now this thing is yeah, like of course it's gonna be that way. Now put an edit poly on top of it. Delete, squish, and we just created a rivet. Put it in here. Make sure it's like that. One more. There. There we go. There we go. These two go off from here. Black. Yes. Why not? Copy there. Yeah, why not? Let's just create one on this side. Some mirror on the Y. Copy. There we go. All right, this is gonna be glass, so Alt X to make it transparent, just so I can see how big this thing is. It's actually okay in here. Make it gray. Hey, you're gray. What if I go and put on a more whitish gray? That's okay. It's okay to be gray. Alright, now, what else do I need in order to get this thing? Well, actually, the corners for this is more or less the same as the ones that are in the middle, and the only thing that's different is the actual glass, which I'm gonna create if I need it, when I need it. So for now, I'm actually gonna put this thing as it is, because even for the corners, what is happening is actually these things too just like go down like so, and nothing much changes. So everything, like the glass is still being held up at one spot. Everything's gonna be fine. Alright, so this is the fence number 2. The fence number 1 is the one that we're gonna use for the exterior ones. We have the corner, we have this one. Alright, so we have 2 fences, and just to break it up a bit, just so I don't like turn this entire stream into the fencing stream, I want to create one more model that's going to be for the solar panel. And that thing, again, in reality, should be like really simple. Gotta answer you boys up on Twitch, actually on Discord, not Twitch. There we go. Oh, the great thing about Discord is that it has its own voice channel, so I can have you guys come in here and chat with me. There we go. I like Discord because basically what Discord is nowadays is the new way of using forums. Like what forums were... I now mate. Oh, you know mate. Yeah, okay, you know. Because I was like, you now what? Where's this thing? Ah, you dumb. Did I just close that thing? Of course I did. I closed my solar panels. Amazing. And the one that I was looking for, it was this one. So let's see what this thing is. So it's basically, it has a cylinder in the back. This is the holder. Actually, you know what? Let's just go and try to find this in another way. Let's try rotating solar panel. And for the rotating solar panel, snap. Okay, not this. See, someone has made a 3D model out of this, but this looks like something that I'm not looking for. No. No, this is gonna be... Well, actually, this is not too bad. From what I can see, these here are pistons, and this thing has this middle piston, and it's like rotating around following the sun. This is actually not a bad design, because something like this can be put on our roof, even in this sort of a... But I have no idea how the bottom looks like, so no. Well, here's a closer look at that thing. Interesting. Oh, hello. Yeah, this is what I'm looking for. See, Now this is going to give me an idea of what exactly I'm going to see on the back, because the front is pretty much simple. You can, if you're lazy enough, you can get around creating the front with just a texture. But here on the back, you cannot use a texture. You actually need to know what this thing looks like from the back. So save image as, and whoever at Google had the idea to remove save image till about, what was it, a few days ago, should break a leg, or like, I don't know, get herpes or something. That was stupid. There we go. Let me just find another image so I can see. Oh, this is interesting. But like I said, I do not want to make things even more complicated now. So that's fine. Nah. Alright, alright, alright. No problem. We are going to focus on creating something like this solar panel. So for this, I need one, two, three, four. Kind of depends, dude. What do you want to learn? Like, I do have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 when it comes down to V-Ray, but that's kind of a bit of an old one because that was done for like version 2 point something, and now it's at V-Ray Next, and the last one is 3.6, I think, that is being used, the version of V-Ray before you switch over to V-Ray Next. And I still haven't gotten my hands on V-Ray Next because, well, lately I had a stroke of bad luck where I had to like replace a bunch of stuff, and that bunch of stuff costs a lot of money. So getting my hands on about 1,200 bucks, or actually 1,200 euros, just to get V-Ray Next is next on my list on things to do when I get more money to spend around on software, which might be actually not a bad idea to make some sort of a donation link or whatever. So whatever money is donated by people is gonna go back into buying software and making more tutorials about the same people that donated stuff. We'll see. I always start off with those ideas and then I just go ahead and, nah, I'm gonna pay for it, and then I pay for it. Alright, mirror on the wall. So, go. Prototype. Alright, so this is fine. I want to have something for here. Alright, let's try with a cylinder. Autogrid, put it here. What height is this? This is 170. Perfect height for this thing. Now, I do need this thing to be a bit thicker because it's gonna be holding that solar panel. So move over here, I guess. Make sure it's not rotated anyway. It's like that. Check my merge. Shouldn't be that thick. So 5. So 7.5. Yeah, I know, but I've always sucked at asking people for money. I prefer to make stuff and give it to people rather than asking them to give me money in order to give them things. Hence, everything on YouTube has been free. Now, what do I need to do now? Up on... Yeah, I'll have to like see how that thing is done. Like I said, this thing with the Twitch came out just so I have a place where I can like get in touch with people like directly and speak with them like I'm doing right now. It was never about getting money, income or whatever from Twitch. So I'm gonna have to see if how that thing is done on Twitch. As far as Twitch goes, all I know is how to get my Streamlabs OBS thing that's streaming this to get it set up, how to put in what you're actually seeing like with all the info at the bottom, and I managed to learn how to like set up stuff around with the chatbot and stuff. And other than that, I have no idea what the other things like are on Twitch. So I'm gonna have to like dive in a bit like deeper onto it and see what happens. But yeah, and no man, I don't have any lessons at Linda. I have been asked in the past to like create some lessons for them, but I did not agree to the terms that they were like asking me to do, and that's a thing that never happened then. So instead of like me creating stuff for Linda or pretty much any other, like I had another, I'm not gonna say who they were. I had another like teaching platform contact me. They were like, would I like to create some content for them and stuff like that, but they were charging like what I thought was stupid amounts of money for stuff that they, up until then, the quality that they were like giving out was not something that I would have liked my name tied to. So I was like, no, I'm gonna pass. So that never happened. Alright, so for this thing, let's just create another cylinder in here. I should really add it, goddamn. Oh, hey, no. So what I want to do is edit poly, move this thing to about there. Just so you guys know, what I'm trying to like create is this piece over here. So as you can see, it starts off with a cylinder, and now we're just gonna do a bit of like simple box modeling. But before I screw around with that thing, I don't want to have it this many sides, so it's gonna try with 12. Yeah, that's much better, much more manageable. So now just move on the X. Go center to center. There you go. Centered out. And select this and this. Move down. No, the idea is that we're gonna have some solar panels. It doesn't have to be fully like, well, you know what? It's kind of gonna depend on what sort of environment we put it in. If you put it somewhere up in the woods or in a snowy or rocky place where there is like no other civilization, it wouldn't be a bad idea to have the whole thing be power efficient. Like it doesn't have to rely on the power grid, but we'll see about that one. So like so. Oh. Let's just put it on both sides. Actually, just select these, put them up like that. Yeah, I know, but I've actually seen some of those container houses that have been built in the city. But they kind of tend to be more of a like a more fancy designs. There we go. For fuck's sake, why am I doing this? Just delete half of it. It's gonna be symmetrical on both sides. There we go, now I can just deal on one side. Alright, so now on the symmetry Y, flip around. It's fine. What the hell just happened? There you go. Like so. And convert to little poly. Regularize. This is fine. Just like I want it. Select this thing, chamfer it ever so slightly. So we have a small 0.2. There we go. Now, select the pivot, put it here. Make this thing symmetrical on the X, or in this case the Z. Jesus. Fine. And god damn it. Alright, before I do this, I should have made this thing round on the bottom as well. So back to make this thing collapse, make this thing collapse. Put one in here, hold on shift. Alright, don't hold on shift, just put one in here. Now, make it symmetrical. The Z. Convert to enable poly. Select the bottom. Regularize. Select this entire thing. Regularize as well. Scale it inwards, like so. Select both of those, chamfer them out. Again, a very small amount, 0.1 or 0.2 in this case, because I want to have an opening there. And not smooth, but where was the smooth type? Alright, whatever. Just don't do it There we go. Delete this thing and this thing. And now I'm gonna just put a shell. Straighten corners. It's gonna be fine. Chamfer should give us a 0.05. And from smoothing, unsmoothed edges. Hey man, regularize that script thing. That's a lifesaver for me as well. Before I learned about that thing, it was fun. So let's go 45 chamfer like this. Oh, just one. Everything in here should be 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, and you should have a 1. And now when I go in, just drop a chamfer, not chamfer, but yeah, chamfer, 0.05. From smoothing groups, unsmoothed edges, it should only apply that thing where it's supposed to be applied at, like so. And now with a turbo smooth, all right, what the fuck is this? There's a goddamn pinch in there. Okay. All right, you want a pinch? There you go. Pinching ass dumb motherfucker. There you go. Not gonna do that. You want a pinch? Pinch. All you want to pinch. I'm gonna fix you later. All right. Give me a sec, one more time. Be right back. Well, if you ever need to buy an alarm clock, don't go out and actually spend money on an actual alarm clock. Just find one of your neighbors that is drilling, and you tell him that at 6 p.m. you're gonna stop your whatever the hell you're doing, and he can continue drilling, and he's going to come and actually remind you that it's 6:00 p.m. and he's gonna ask you if he can continue drilling. Anyways, since we have people that want to drill and it's Saturday, I guess today's stream is gonna be finished up on that bombshell where we have to finish the stream because somebody wants to drill. Anyways, I would like to thank everybody that was with me today. It was really fun with having like today's actual session was fun for me. So I'd like to thank everybody like that was with me today. I hope I get to see you next week again. I'm gonna try my best to do it on Tuesday. Again, let's just see. This is gonna be better. I'm gonna try to do the stream on Tuesday, and hopefully everything is gonna be fine. I get my new monitor, and well, if everything is fine, then we can continue creating more stuff. Up until then, I would love if you people can like leave up some comments and some suggestion as to what we can do or what we can add in here on our scene. take into account that we still haven't really decided on what sort of a design we're going to be following here. So it's still open up for design. You leave your comments, like leave images and leave your ideas. I will take them into consideration, and the next time we can like go ahead and actually model something like that. And again, do go on Discord, check on the streaming related channel, and type up all of your info in there, all of your ideas, and I will do my best to like follow back and see what happens. So I'm gonna say it one more time, thanks to everybody that was here. Today was a fun day. You guys made my day a bit. The guy that's drilling kind of tried to screw it up, but even with the mighty drillers that kind of look like dwarves but that actually don't drink that much, they did not manage to screw this thing up, and today we had a nice and fun stream. So for the third time, thank you everybody, and I will see you in the next stream. And before the next stream happens, I actually might have a tutorial out on YouTube. So have fun everybody, and have a great weekend. Bye bye.